Hi, welcome back. So we're at the reading and writing files outline. In this outline, we're going to learn about different techniques on writing and reading from files. I think this is very important, especially when you start to work on different tasks where you need to access to different external type of files, read from them, or maybe write to them in different type of format and extensions. First of all, I need you to know that open as a function, it returns just a file object and the most common use with two positional arguments and one keyword. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Open as a function, it takes actually the file name and then it takes something called the mode of the file, what would like me to do with it. And finally, it takes something called the encoding, that's all, which is by default, it will be UTF-8. So this is the simplest syntax on working with reading and writing. Let's just start with the real example. But before that, I would like to tell you that since I'm working on a Colab on a cloud service, I have to specify the directory where I want my file to be created and working on. Otherwise, if you are working in your local environment, you don't have to do that. The interpreter recognizes your local environment. Copy the path and say, this is going to be my file path. And then I'm going to put between single quotes. And at the end, I'm going to actually create a file really. So I would say this is file example, and I will say it's a text type of file. So I'm going to get back to my example by assigning variable, we'll call it F, and then I'm going to say file and open the file path. I want you to work on this file path, and then I want to work on the following mode. So we have different type of mode. The first mode we call the R, it means to open and read. W to open and write. We have got R plus to read and write. We have the A to append, and then we have got also the X to create. So basically we're going to start with the W, just to write to a file, F, and say please write. And the second thing I would like to do after you finish this line, at the end of this sentence, I would like you to create a new line. We have to close that session, otherwise the file will be open, and then if I try to read or write on it again, it will be corrupted. I'll try to look for file example.txt. If it can't find it, it will create it. So if I look at the left hand side, I don't see something called file example. If I run this simple line and I look at the left hand side and I refresh here, I will see that the file underscore example have been just created. This is my first line has been created. This is my second. I run it one more time. I would see that I have run into a problem. The problem is the W just override on the previous line. That's why what we should do actually, we have to use the A basically to append. Okay, let's try to run this, get back. Yes, it works now. So A is going to do the appending. And you could see why I started a new line because I indicated backward /n. Let's try to read actually the font. So I'm going to change the mode to R plus or R only reading, no need writing. So I'll comment this and I'm going to say f.read. Let's see what a result looks like. It reads the line. Also, there is another thing called read line. This is the first line that is been read. So I could use the for loop over the files as so. However, I think there is a small catch here. The close is a very important thing. So if I don't do that, I'm going to run into a problem. That's why instead of using this technique, we use something called the with, which basically does the closing for me. So all what I have to do, creating an object, I'm telling this keyword with to create this object F for me, depends on the reading of this file using the R plus as my indication. Say f.read as I done before, and you will get the exact same result. So here I didn't have to close the session as I have done earlier before. I think when you get into a real life examples, you need to deal with different kind of data structure, such as the JSON, which is basically an open standard file format, and data uses the human readable text. So I think you may want to also be familiar by learning about the format. Basically, if you remember remember we've learned about dictionary, right, as a type of data structure in Python. It takes key, and that key, it takes certain value. Basically, JSON is exactly a dictionary format. So let us assume just in this scenario, I would like to create something that looks like this. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to save this not in the memory. As you can see, I would like to save it on a file. So basically, open this file path, which is emp JSON, and I would like to use the write. I have to import JSON first. I would like to dump the employee dictionary. So one more time, basically dump, what it does, it takes two input. The first one, what you would like to dump, which is this employee dictionary, and where would you like to dump it? I'd like to dump it on the F, which is actually the file path that I have indicated there. To run this simple line, if you see this employee .json have been just created, and if I open it, you would see that exactly what we expect. Basically, there's alternative method, as we say, json.dump, and there's json.dumps. Now, json.dumps, the alternative one, I can create an object, say this is an object JSON, just like so, and then I would say json.dumps the employee dictionary, and then I would use something called the indentant by for. I would just follow the exact same technique that I have done earlier before by saying f.write. So if I would have to run this one more time, you could see the difference here with the indentation of for as I have done before. Now, what you could do from here, actually, you could even append to this. So the way I would like to do that, I'm gonna stick with the exact same method as I have done before, using the dump method instead of the dumps here. And I'm gonna use the r+. Is by creating file data, and this file data is going to do the following. So it's gonna say json.load, and then I have to specify which file I would like to load. Of course, I'm going to load this F file, which is indicating the file path where the original dictionary has been stored. I would like to reach to this file data, in particular to this key, which is the employee, and then I would like to go and append, because it's a list here, a new employee. I'm going to use this f.seek, we call it 0, and that means to set the current position at 0. It means it's going to be added at the end of this file. And as we have done before, json.dump, of course, is the file data into the f as we have defined up there, and then I'm going to add the indent. I should be able now to see the new employee has been just added as we expected, Sam Sales and 2000. Now you could see this is quite a bit not really organized. So if I would like to ask you to do something by creating a function, for example, set it exactly as we done earlier before. Now, if you run this, you get nothing, of course, because this is just an input function. So I'm going to say I would like to add this a new employee. I will be able, of course, to see it just as we expected. So this is the use of function. I hope now this section of read and write on Python is quite clear to use, very useful and very important when it comes to input and output. Next, we'll be dealing with error and exception and how to handle them. I'll see you then.